I never meant for this to happen. But now, as I lie in bed, tangled in sheets that don't belong to my husband, I can't imagine stopping. My body is still warm from his brother's touch, my skin alive in a way I haven't felt in years. The soft glow of the streetlight casts faint shadows across the room, highlighting the curves of Ethan's body beside me. I turn my head slightly, watching him in the dim light. He sleeps so soundly, his lips parted just enough to let out steady breaths. He looks peaceful, like a man who has no regrets. Unlike me, the scent of him lingers on my skin, familiar, intoxicating. It's the kind of scent that reminds me of things I shouldn't want. His hand rests lazily against my hip, like he's claiming me even in his sleep. I should move away, create distance. Instead, I inch closer, pressing myself into his warmth. Ethan doesn't check his phone the moment he wakes up. He doesn't rush out of bed to get to work early. He stays. He lingers. He makes me feel wanted. I should feel guilty. But I don't. Because what started as a mistake has become the one thing in my life that feels real. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to give it up. It started with a glance. A moment too long. A touch too familiar. Mark had been gone for a work trip, another endless meeting in another city that took him further away from me. Ethan had come over to help fix a leaky faucet in the kitchen, and somehow, he never left. We opened a bottle of wine. We sat on the back porch as the sun dipped below the horizon, the heat of the day lingering in the humid summer air. I laughed at something he said, something ridiculous, probably. But the way he looked at me after, I knew something had changed. A storm rolled in that night. The power flickered out, plunging the house into darkness, leaving only the flickering candlelight between us. Ethan shifted closer, his knee brushing against mine, his fingers tracing over the rim of his glass. When I reached for his hand, I told myself it was nothing. When he pulled me into his arms, I told myself I would stop. When his lips crashed against mine, I told myself it was just one mistake. But it wasn't. Because one kiss turned into a night neither of us could take back. The next morning, I stared at my reflection in the bathroom mirror, my heart hammering against my ribs. I told myself it could never happen again. Then it did. And then it did again. Until it became a part of me. Mark is a good husband. Steady. Loyal. Predictable. Ethan is fire. Chaos. Passion. I should love Mark more. He is my husband after all. But when I'm with Ethan, I feel like I'm finally awake. The deception should weigh on me more than it does. Every time Mark kisses me, I wonder if he can taste the betrayal on my lips. But he never suspects a thing. He trusts me. He kisses me goodbye in the morning, tells me he loves me, goes about his day without a clue. And maybe that's why I can't stop. Because it's too easy. Because it feels too good. Ethan and I steal moments whenever we can. A lingering touch when Mark isn't looking. A heated glance across a crowded room. The thrill of sneaking away together, knowing how wrong it is but craving it anyway. Hotel rooms. The back seat of his truck. His apartment when Mark thinks I'm out with friends. Each time, it gets harder to leave. Each time, I wish I didn't have to. The problem with love is that it demands to be seen. And I know sooner or later someone will. Lying has become second nature. I tell Mark I'm out with friends. I tell myself this isn't wrong. I tell Ethan this will last forever. But deep down, I know it can't. Mark is starting to notice the distance between us. The nights I come home too late. The way I hesitate before answering his questions. Is everything okay? He asks one night, watching me over the rim of his glass. I force a smile. Just tired. Work has been exhausting. He nods, but I can feel the way his eyes linger, searching my face for answers I refuse to give. And Ethan, he's growing restless. He's whispering things like, leave him for me. He wants more. He wants all of me. Just say the word. He murmurs against my skin, his breath hot against my neck. And we'll be together. I close my eyes, torn between the life I've built and the life I crave. Because what if Ethan isn't just a mistake? What if he's the life I was supposed to have? Chapter 5. Caught in the Flames. Mark finds out. Not because I told him. Not because Ethan confessed, but because love always leaves evidence. A text I forgot to delete. A slip of the tongue. The way my body no longer fits against his the way it used to. How long? Mark demands, his voice shaking. I can't answer, because the truth will break him. With Ethan? My own brother? His voice cracks, and for the first time, I see the betrayal settle in his eyes, raw and unrelenting. I don't cry, because the truth is I already made my choice a long time ago. And now I finally have to live with it. The divorce is fast. Mark doesn't fight for me. Maybe because he knows I was never his to begin with. Maybe because he's too tired to try. Ethan is waiting. When I walk out of that house for the last time, I don't look back. He's standing by his car, watching me, a slow smile spreading across his lips as I approach. Are you sure? He asks, searching my face for doubt. I take his hand. I've never been more sure of anything. And when he pulls me into his arms, it feels like the beginning of something I should have had all along. Because for the first time in years, I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. And it feels like freedom.